Welcome everyone to the Blast Zone. Yep, even Kiwi.
Even Kiwi's gonna be putting people on blast.
Yep. So, welcome to another episode. And yeah, Kiwi. And this time we got what we're going to be talking about today is dating, but specifically being able to take your time, before making it official or serious or jumping into a relationship as jumping into a serious relationship.
And this one gets somewhat personal because we've gotten shit for it.
Yeah, it's actually pretty interesting. So, we can kind of share our own personal experience regarding this topic. So...
Apparently, many people are still in high school and think you need to make it official day one.
Right? Like, oh man, you've been talking to each other for a week? Okay, yeah, you definitely know that you are for each other. That's the high school mindset. Honestly, yeah. Like 99% of it is.
Oh my god.
Right? Well,
I don't get it how grown adults still are like, oh no, I can't take my time and get to know this person before jumping into something.
Right?
I need to make a decision. If I have a connection with them, I need to lock them down right now. They are mine. They're in jail. You're never escaping.
Right? Now, you hear it all the time, of, oh man, I didn't know what I got into, or I can't believe I can't believe what I got into with this relationship. Now I can't get out. Like, holy shit. It just goes from a complete 180, complete 360, and it's just fucked.
We've heard, we personally have gotten, the opposite, where it's like, you guys waited X amount of time to make it official, even though you saw each other and went on dates, literally every single week, and you had a connection. Why didn't you just make it official then? You should just know and start serious right off the bat. And I was like, we still saw each other every single week, sometimes more than once a week.
Yeah, we did.
So it's A, mind your business. B, people do shit their own way.
Yeah.
And you don't know people's situation, so that's the other thing.
And even though we're telling you all this, it's not like we have anything against that. Sometimes it does work. Sometimes you have been only, talking to each other or seeing each other for maybe 2 weeks. Or a month. That could still work. But majority of what people are just it has to be immediately, or else at that point you should just break it off.
A lot of those people, I feel like, are the ones that they just can't stand being alone.
Yeah.
Personally, and I've even said this to my dad, I feel like my dad is one of those people.
What?
He'll just be with somebody because he doesn't want to be by himself, instead of waiting and being with somebody that he absolutely is just on the same level and just head over heels for. He'll just, I don't want to say settle, but I don't know another word. He'll just be content with somebody he mildly gets along with most of the time, but not all the time, just because he doesn't want to be by himself.
Yeah, I would say content, or what's comfortable. The comfort zone is that's what finds them comforting. It's easy, it's simple, They don't have to work too hard. And it's just something that they're used to, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so like in our situation, we started talking for about 7 months.
It was 6 months.
6 months, yeah, like 6.5 months, 6 months essentially.
Because it was like end of June to beginning of January, so yeah, 6 months.
Yeah, 6 months. So like, and I think this was definitely really the most important part that I would say a lot of people miss is that we communicated in the very beginning about our wants, our thoughts, and how else would you say this? Like
basically we just communicated to each other that like
where we're at.
We both recently, like a year ago, before meeting, had gotten out of long-term, not very good or healthy relationships, so we didn't want to jump into something serious without being absolutely sure that was what we wanted. So it was very much a conversation of like, if it leads to something serious, cool, but I'm not necessarily looking for that.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, then like that's fine too. Like I made a friend or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But I mean, personally for me, whenever we talk about it and we get the comments of like, oh, you just know, like they act like we didn't have any sort of connection when we met. I'm like,
yeah, we definitely hit it off.
We hit it off right away.
Yeah, we definitely did. Yeah.
Like, we just sat and watched YouTube and laughed about shit for like 6-7 hours.
Yeah, 6-7 hours. Watching YouTube, listening, like just music on YouTube. Literally just chilling and vibing.
Yeah, but it's really irritating when people are like, oh, well, if you waited 6 months to make it official, like, why, like, almost an attitude of like, why even bother? Because like obviously you don't have a very strong connection if you didn't make it official right away. And I'm like, hell no. Like there was I feel like there was a strong connection. Like we clicked right off the bat. Like there was no doubt about that.
Yeah, there was no doubt about that.
I just feel like a lot of people misconstrue that instant connection as like, love at first sight, make it official now, give me a ring, let's go.
Yeah. And that brings me to my other point too, to where majority of people that would be in our situation, right, they would go ahead and make it exclusive, right? They would be like, hey, let's make this exclusive. And again, don't get me wrong, it can work, okay? Like we're not trying to say, oh, you shouldn't make it exclusive. No, like, if it works for you, but I'm just saying, like, people that are so quick to be like, all right, we aren't going to make it official, but we're going to be exclusive. I hear that actually so often. Like, I hear it all the time. Yeah, I hear it so often. It's like, well...
That's kind of contradicting.
It's really weird, It's like, oh, we're exclusive, but, like, we're not official still. It's really weird.
And mind you, like, we even communicated in the beginning of, like, we're gonna see where things go. But with that being said, if I'm going to, like, go out on a date with somebody else, like, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
If I plan on seeing anybody else, I'll tell you. Like,
that
that didn't really happen.
Yeah,
but the communication was there of, like, if this comes up, I will let you know.
Yeah. So it was just, like, open communication in the beginning, so that way, again, it's to build trust and, it's the foundations of It's the basic foundations of a relationship, you know?
I mean, I feel like in our case too, like a big reason why we went that route was, like I said, like both of us had in the like past year or a year prior to meeting had just gotten out of like
Yeah.
really unhealthy relationships and didn't want to get essentially sucked into another one of those without knowing.
Yeah, so it's like, why jump into a relationship when you know you're not ready,
Yeah.
you know?
And I mean, obviously we knew we would like we hit it off or we wouldn't have seen each other every week
Yeah.
or more than once a week.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
yeah.
that's just really, I don't know. That's the one thing that really frustrates me when people are like, "What? Like you just know." Like they act like there was no sort of connection if we weren't like the next day.
Right.
Let's make it official.
And it's like those same exact people, like their dating life is
So fucked.
so fucked. It's so bad, you know.
It was like, if you really think about it, there's not much of a difference between like that and how we went about it. Like people used to court people all the time. They weren't exclusive. They were but they were still like communicating and shit. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
I don't see what's so different about having an agreement that you're going to openly communicate and see where things go. And
Because here's
like,
another thing too.
I don't see the difference.
Because here's also another like point that I want to bring out is that, because you hear this all the time about people that like get into relationships all like constantly, you know, because they think they know what they're talking about or know what they're doing, and it's like those people that's like, oh man, like I didn't know what I got into. Mm-hmm. It's like you don't really know a person in a month, but they're like, oh man, it feels like I've known you forever. You know, it feels like we're just soulmates, or I just feel like we were just made for each other. Can't believe things aligned, or some shit like that, some fairy tale, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, like really just cut that bullshit. Like it is.
And they refuse to see any of the things that are wrong because they're like such in this fairy tale in their head.
Yeah. You know, and it's just like...
Or they refuse to talk about problems because they don't want to upset anybody, and then that just leads to bigger problems because they never talk about their problems.
Yeah, it's because you never actually got to know who this individual is. That's all how it stems, you know? You don't know what you may disagree on, what you may agree on, and that's all the process that we went through, you know, is... Like we said again, is we got out of a pretty long-term relationship, and you know,
it's like when you get out of something long-term that was very unhealthy.
Yeah, you know, it's
you want to take your time. Yeah, and make sure that this person's right for you.
Yeah, and for the people that, you know, stress about it, and then they get into a relationship and they stress about that one, it's just like you're just putting yourself in that situation. Like I'm like, you know, at a certain point there is no sympathy for you, you know. It's just like you're not learning to improve yourself at that point. It's like just take a break, you know. But it's people's like or society's, you know, mentality of, oh, I'm getting older, you know, so that means that I have no time, you know. And it's like, well, it's because you don't think about things.
Yeah. Or you have the people that are constantly getting in relationships and you're like, this is why none of your relationships last more than 6 months.
Right.
Like, I know people like that. I mean, I have a cousin that's been married 4 times and she's like 26. It's fucking wild.
It's fucking wild. It's crazy. So that, like, this is something that, you know, we've both been looking forward to talk about. But, you know, we talked about, you know, early on in the episode of, you know, how people would, you know, give their own thoughts and opinions of why, like, of like, oh, you guys didn't make it official like right off the bat, you know. So, so like,
Yeah. Because they
so
really do. They act like it's like, oh, well, it's not gonna. It's almost it's not gonna last because you guys obviously didn't have a strong enough, like a very strong connection if you didn't make it official
yeah,
right away. And I was
right,
like, excuse you, bitch. We get along very well and
right,
always have.
yeah, like literally always have since the day we started talking to each other. So
So
I
get
was
fucked.
right. So for some that don't know, and for those that do know, so yeah, so we run two different Discord servers,
Yes.
and I'll have to get into that like more later. But in one particular Discord server, Amanda has she joined the server. I, like invited her to the server when
Mm-hmm.
she. It's actually been almost a year, and no one actually knew that like
We were seeing each
we were
other.
seeing each other. Like so being a server owner, it's
Because at the
just
time, I wasn't a mod.
yeah. At the time, you weren't a mod. You
That wasn't
know,
until recently.
it wasn't until recently, like literally, like really recent, like a month ago or 2 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
right? So really recent. That's like 8 months or 9 months. Uh, but yeah, like people did not know until we officially started dating, which was in like January, but people still didn't know until like maybe 4 months, 5 months after.
I
So
mean, honestly, there's probably people that still don't know because, the only way they would know is if they see
yeah,
podcast stuff.
yeah,
I guess.
I guess yeah. Unless some people don't think like, oh no, you're just like a tag along or like you're just a
Or,
co-host.
yeah.
Some people might think
I
that.
know some people probably, like, figured it out when we both changed our roles
Yeah,
to take in, but
like a few people saw that, but not like a few, like a couple.
yeah.
So yeah, so yeah, Amanda had joined the server, and she started talking about. Well, I mean, you should explain this part.
Well, I was on the server for a while before this ever happened.
Yeah, you were on the server for about like.
So, like, I joined the server in August of last year, so almost a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then I believe it was probably in like November, early November, late October that I had mentioned something in Gal's room about who I was seeing, not like about who it was, but
Yeah, yeah,
like the
yeah,
situation.
yeah.
So at the time, I was planning to go teach English in South Korea.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was all ready to go. I had been like preparing all my documents and everything.
Yeah, she was legit like ready to go.
I was just pretty much like getting the last things in order, like leaving in March, kind of like gone,
Mm-hmm.
just done.
Yeah.
Um,
Now again, like listen to this full story.
so then, yeah, so I want to say, I really want to say it was early November because it was after you stayed at my house, which was in October.
Yeah, my birthday.
Yeah. Which you didn't tell me about.
Yeah, I didn't
He
tell him
fucking
about it.
stayed at my house for 2 weeks and it was his birthday and he didn't say shit.
Yeah, I don't want to feel like you're obligated to.
But I love making cakes and giving people presents, you bitch. So anyway.
Anyways.
So I want to say it was early November because it was after I had a whole domestic violence thing happen and he stayed at my house for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And this does play into the story, so it's important.
It actually happened during that, I think.
Hmm?
Oh no, it was after, a little bit after. Yeah, it was actually. Yeah, it was like in early November, I think.
Yeah. So on the server, there's different rooms for the guys and the gals. So like there's gals room where only the girls are allowed in, and then there's guys room where only the guys are allowed in.
No, I think you actually talked about this in personal advice.
That was something else.
Oh, yeah.
The Peapod thing was in Gal's room.
No, that was some personal advice.
No, it wasn't. That was the one you saw. The one where I got into it with somebody was in Gal's room.
Yeah, that was in Gal's room, yeah.
So, like, yes, I had posted something in personal advice, too, but it was a lot tamer.
Yeah.
Than what had happened in Gal's room. So, Gal's room. Background. I don't have a lot of female friends. I don't typically get along with other women.
I think a lot of women can agree with that. Or attest to that statement.
I really just... I grew up with brothers and my dad. So I would say I grew up with a very unemotional approach to things and not liking drama or confrontation or cattiness, like any of that. And unfortunately, my whole life, as early as I can remember, like kindergarten as early as I can remember, have always had groups of girls be assholes to me. Like, they hate me. Like, I just have never had good experiences with groups of women.
Mm-hmm.
So that is why I have one female friend, and that's it. But yeah, so I went into Gal's room to try to make an attempt at being more open to having female friends. So I go in there and I was like, maybe I can ask the girls what their opinion is on this. Mm-hmm. Mistake number 1. So I go in and I start talking to them about how I was really conflicted about going to Korea now, because I had been gung-ho, like ready to go to Korea.
Mm-hmm.
But I had been seeing Chris since like June,
since
late June. So it had been like 4, almost 5 months at that point. And feelings started to shift. And I was like, I don't know if I want to go now. Because originally the reason I wanted to go was because like I felt like I had nobody and nothing here. Mm-hmm. And that obviously changed. And I was like, I'm going to miss him if I leave.
Yeah, but you didn't say who it was, though.
No, I didn't say who it was.
So no one knew that it was...
No one knew it was Chris.
Yeah, or AKA Wiggles. Wiggle Nuts.
Wiggle Nuts. So yeah, I went on this like little tirade of, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm really conflicted on whether I go to Korea or I stay and pursue this, because I feel like what I have with this person really could be something great. Like, I see something good coming out of this if I pursue it. But also kind of explain the thing of we were seeing where things went, and I didn't know if me saying how I felt was going to push him away and make him be like, nah, get the fuck away, bye-bye. Yeah. Like, big feelings, that's the end of talking to you, goodbye.
Yep. Goodbye.
And when I was talking about that part of it, another girl on the server who was a mod at the time was just like...
Yeah, for those that don't know, it's P-Bot.
She was like, the gist of it was pretty much, you should just go to Korea because that guy obviously doesn't care about you. You're just like his fuck buddy. That's all he sees you as. Like, you should like just go.
I remember seeing that and I was like laughing so hard.
And I got really mad because in my mind I was just like, the way he acts, especially lately, does not seem that way. Like, it kind of seems like he feels the same way I do. Mm-hmm. And I don't feel like somebody who just saw me as friends with benefit or fuck buddy would like stay at my house for 2 weeks after a domestic violence issue put up cameras at my house for me and just like genuinely make sure I'm okay.
Yeah, yeah. People are gonna be like surprised. Yeah, generally, like I genuinely just, I didn't ask for anything in specific or anything. I was like, yeah, I can bring my computer. You're like, yeah. I'm like, all right, cool, set.
I can bring my computer and my cat. Cool.
Yeah, that's literally, that was literally it.
Literally, the way I asked him was like, I know it's not your problem, but would you mind staying with me for 2 weeks? Because I had been out of my house because the person I was living with, my uncle, he was being kicked out of the house and the court date came around. So when I got back into the house, I was really just like nervous of being there by myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got really mad when she said that because I was just like, I don't feel like, because like I definitely felt like at that point he was feeling the same way like in November. So and later I found out like, yeah, we started having feelings at the same time. Just didn't say anything.
Yeah, so for some people that may try to jump to conclusions about, let me clarify a couple things too. So so Amanda, as you all have heard, yes, she was, getting ready to go to South Korea to teach English. I was actually being 100% supportive of like, hey,
Yeah.
like if it's something that you really want to do, then do it. I did not. I still have like, hey, but if you don't, because there are certain conditions and there's certain things that that you probably won't like, or
Yeah.
but it was still the fact that I wasn't just trying to get Amanda to just stay.
Well, that's the one thing that like really just solidified things even more for me was like, you waited to tell me that you had feelings for me until I had decided for myself to stay.
Yeah, I waited for you to stay. Like, I didn't want
You didn't want you to be the reason
yeah.
that I stayed.
Yeah, so, again, for people that try to say things, try to put words in my mouth, no. There was no words of influence to try to get you or persuade you to stay here. There's literally none of that.
I mean, personally, like, that was a really, like, powerful and noble thing in my mind, and just, like, further solidified what I already thought of you as a person, because I was like, most people totally would have made that into, like, an ultimatum. Like, you either go or you choose me. But you didn't even tell me you had, like, you didn't even admit to me that you had feelings for me for a little while.
Yeah.
Until I had told you, like, I've decided I'm not gonna go.
Which is actually kind of funny because, like, I was telling you this, we were talking about this before, like, Peabot came in, telling her spiel. And then that's why I found it even more funny when Peabot, like, since Peabot didn't know that it was me that you were talking to, and she was essentially talking shit to me,
Yeah.
or it's talking shit about me that she didn't know.
Yeah.
And here's actually another just quick little detail of context for people out there. If I actually took things personally, Peabot wouldn't have been a mod as long as she was until recently. So that should say something more than what people think of me.
Yeah. But I mean, that whole thing had happened
In like November. You're talking about the Peabot thing?
It was actually probably after Thanksgiving, because now that I think about it, like, me and Darcy talked about it on our way to San Diego.
Oh, yeah, it was after Thanksgiving.
And that was right after Christmas that we went to San Diego.
Yeah, so it was, like, around beginning of December.
Yeah, which is, like, after we both, like, told each other that we had feelings for each other, like,
yeah.
the feels.
The feels.
We both admitted that it was, like, around, like, November, like Thanksgiving time.
Yeah.
And like
Or like
neither one of us said anything.
Yeah, we never. Yeah, we didn't even say anything though. Yeah, we didn't even say anything. It was kind of funny.
We didn't say anything about it until like I was staying over here significantly more Thanksgiving through like New Year's. And then we kind of started talking about it more after I like said I wasn't going to go to Korea, which was I want to say like early to mid December.
Yeah.
But basically the whole spiel in Gal's room was the like, you know, I don't want to just stay here for a maybe. I don't want to just stay here for like something might come of this.
I mean, which is true. Yeah, you definitely don't want to just stay for a maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, like I said, deep down, like I really did feel like it was a mutual thing, and it turned out like it was, obviously. But no, I think that really shows like what kind of person you are. Like I said, lots of people would have made that into a ultimatum.
Yeah.
Like you had the feelings for at least a month and a half, and
like
you chose not to say anything. It was like a month and a half, 2 months, and you said nothing until I decided for myself that I was going to stay here.
Yeah. And again, like, to highlight, I didn't give her an ultimatum of, like...
I didn't even know.
Like, I didn't give her an ultimatum of, like, it's either me or you or not. Like, I hate that shit, you know? But one thing for people to understand is, well, like, my thought process behind it was, yes, I waited, you know, I wanted her to figure it out for herself, right? And then when she did, you know, that's when I was like, okay, now it's my time to actually confess my feels, right? Because I don't want to be the person that, you know, waits until the person actually leaves, you know? It's like, oh, hey, I know you don't live here anymore, but, you know, I want to tell you that I had a huge crush on you. I had feelings for you for 3 months, for the past 4 months, you know, and I just had to tell you that. Like, I know so many people that do that.
Yeah, and then they feel like an asshole. Like, the person on the other end, they're like, well, why didn't you tell me when I was there?
Yeah, you know, and, you know, I didn't want to...
Well, you even admitted, you're like, if you would have gone, I would have just, like, never told you.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you know, I'm also not the person to, like, wait, you know, like, if she decided to go, yeah, you know, I'm not the person that's gonna hold someone hostage because they don't like me, you know, or, like,
always liked you.
Yeah, well, yeah,
just the feels.
or, like, you know, we don't talk about it, you know,
yeah,
and
it was just really annoying.
Yeah.
The whole, like, he just sees you as a fuck toy and that's it.
Yeah. You know,
well, I mean, you stayed at my house for 2 weeks and put cameras up and...
You even said that.
Yeah, I even said that. And I was like, I mean, and that's not even, like, even before that. Like, you helped me move. Not once, but twice.
Twice.
I mean... And if I was having, like, a bad time at my house or something, all I had to do was be like, hey, can I come over?
Or
you would just invite me or whatever.
Or we would just chill at, like, Dutch Bros.
Yeah.
Seriously. Or just, that's it.
Or I'd be like, I had a bad day. Well, you want to meet up at Dutch Bros at 11 o'clock at night?
Sure.
Well, okay, let's go.
Let's go. You know? So that's why, you know, again, like, all due respect, Peabot, like, yeah, like, I actually lost a lot of respect. I was like, Peabot, you're fucking dumb.
It was just kind of rude.
It is just really rude.
Because I was like, you're hearing part of the situation. Like, you don't know the whole scenario.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, like, weird to just jump to conclusions that since they didn't make it official right away, that they're just using me.
Yeah, it's just
whereas we said before, like, we both communicated that we wanted to take things slow because we had gotten out of something long term and not great.
Talked about it. Like, we constantly talked about it, not just in the beginning. Like, we constantly talked about it
all the time,
leading up to it being more official.
Yeah,
it being official, you know, and you know, for the past 7 months, yeah, it's been awesome. It's been fantastic. You know,
our official 7 months.
Official 7 months.
It's been over a year of the dating. Oh, the casual days.
But yeah, no, it's like, you know, we got to know.
I mean, I live here, so.
Yeah, you do live here. She does live here. It's actually that's for another time.
That's another time.
That's another story. But yeah, no, that like, again, for it's to know more about each other, learn more about each other, and not get into something that is not going to work out, you know?
Exactly. Like, you want to make sure that it's, like, not going to be another repeat of what you've experienced in the past. Like, you want to make sure that that person's right for you. And let's be real, a lot of people aren't 100% authentically themselves in that first couple months.
Yeah, most definitely.
They hide their crazy a little bit.
Yeah, they definitely do hide their crazy. You know, and again, that's why it's, like, super important to do that, to get to know each other first. Because so many times people will be like, yeah, we are officially dating, and then we're still working it out, and then shit hits the fan. You're like...
Yeah, and then they find out later, like... I've heard so many people where they get into a serious relationship, like, right away, and then 6-7 months, a year down the line, they find out that that person, like, never wants to get married, never wants to have kids, but they do. And they're like, we're gonna break up now. I was like, well, why didn't you talk about that earlier?
Yeah.
Like, why didn't you know that they didn't believe in, like, marriage, or they didn't want kids before you started dating?
Right? But it's like let's say, like, they do. I do hear some people that will say, like, yeah, we talked about it, but it's like people are like, well, maybe if we stay around for a little bit longer, maybe we'll change their mind.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah, it happens a lot. And it's honestly, you know, majority of the time, it's not good. It's not going to turn out well.
Or you end up having people that give in and, like with kids, they'll give in and, like, have kids, but they really don't want kids even when they have kids.
Yeah.
And it's totally obvious.
Yeah.
And then they're not great parents because, like, it's obvious that they don't want to be a parent.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is why we have kids that have shitty parents. Because they have parents that don't want to be parents.
But it's exactly why you should take, you should take your time if that's going on, right? If that happens to be your situation, yes, you should talk about it, be open-minded, and discuss whether or not it is something that will be immediately, worked on, or it won't be a problem immediately for future references, and you won't argue about it down the line. But if it does happen down the line, then again, it's, the choices that you're making is not good.
Yeah. It was just really one of those things of people making assumptions that they just know everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you don't know any of the background. You don't know any of how we react or we interact together. Like, you don't know anything besides the little snippet I have told you.
Yeah.
Because the other part of it was another user had commented as well, but she was very, like, you should tell him.
Well, essentially an ultimatum, right? I think it was that. I think it was like an ultimatum kind of
Kind
thing.
of, because there was 3 people that had, so there was that one, the ultimatum kind of thing. And then there was Zod, who she basically was like, I think you should be honest, but you shouldn't, if going to Korea is something that really is like a dream status thing for you, you should go.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's more of a thing where it's just like, I want to escape my situation, and it's not necessarily a dream thing, it's just like more, I need a change of scenery, or I need a change in my life, then I would go more the route of being honest with this person, seeing how the conversation goes, and then making a decision after that. Which obviously, like, I kind of didn't do anything that anybody said. I just, like, made my decision, and then after.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of how every time we have conversations goes. It's like we mutually decide we're going to talk about something.
Yeah.
And then we're like, oh, so you've been thinking this for a while too, and neither one of us had the balls to bring it up first. Usually you bring it up first.
Yeah, usually I bring it up, but again, it was, again, I did not want to forcefully influence any type of persuasive to
my decision.
To your decision,
Mm-hmm.
And
like I said, like, that's pretty damn respectable in my opinion, because a lot of people totally would have made it into an ultimatum, because all the romance movies are, it's me or that.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh god.
And people that might think like, oh, like, he's just saying that, no, like, that's exactly what happened.
No, I mean, that's one thing that we've talked about that, like, we both appreciate, but, like, I personally appreciate a lot, is, like, I don't have to worry about what I talk about with you. I don't have to censor myself. I don't have to, like, worry about you getting upset. Like, we talk about everything. It's never an issue. And then also, like, you very much say what you mean.
Yeah.
Like, I don't ever have to wonder what you mean, and if I don't understand what you mean, I just ask.
Yeah, and then we just talk about it,
Because, yeah, like, sure, there's times where, like, I'll be saying something, or you'll be saying something, and we're kind of like, the wires just aren't connecting, and we're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And then you just ask.
And then there's no reason to get, like, heated, or, like, raise your voice, like, all the time, or just, like, get irritated,
Mm-hmm.
It's just talking about it, or working through it,
Yeah, and that's, like, why it's nice to not have to worry about, like, someone constantly getting mad at you for asking questions or for clarification when you don't understand something.
And what else helps prevent from happening, and what most common relationships people say that should be common are conflicts in a relationship,
Because a lot of people don't bring up any sort of issues because they don't want to get in a fight.
Yeah, they think getting into, like, a physical yelling fight is what makes a normal relationship,
I actually got told that the other day. Like, I never hear you say anything bad about Wiggles. I was like, I don't have anything bad to say. Like,
yeah.
What? Like,
yeah, it's like the same thing with me. I don't have anything bad to say about you.
Ooh. But, like, I've heard that from a lot of people where, like, if you don't complain about your partner or your spouse or your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the hell, that, like, it's almost like they don't consider it to be normal. Like, they consider it to be suspicious. Like, something's going on. Like, nothing's that perfect kind of thing. And I'm just like, like, I don't know if everybody's been watching too many like soap operas or romance movies where they think, oh, we're a group of girls, we have to get together and complain about our boyfriend or our husband, or we're a group of guys, we have to get together
Yeah.
and complain about our wives or our girlfriend. Like,
Right?
I mean, sure, nobody's perfect, but like, why would you sit there and talk shit about someone you supposedly care about? I don't get
Right?
it.
And I think another thing too is like when people say that, oh, you shouldn't, like, as a guy, as a male, or you shouldn't say something that would hurt, hurt feelings, right? Or you should lie
Oh my god,
to
yes.
right, and again, this is still relates to our main topic of taking time before making it official,
We've
right?
both gotten in trouble for that.
Yeah.
Because both of us are very, I'm not gonna lie to you kind of people. So, for instance, like, with my past relationship, towards the end, my ex was still saying, like, he loved me and stuff. And then he got really mad because he noticed that, like, I had stopped saying it,
Mm-hmm.
like, for over a year.
Yeah.
I had just not been saying it back.
Yeah.
And so he got really pissed. And I was like, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I'm not going to say it because I don't mean it. Like, I don't feel that way anymore. And I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
It's just like if somebody got a haircut or somebody got an outfit and they're like, does this look good? And it didn't.
Yeah.
I'm not, like, no, I'm not going to be like, fuck, that's ugly.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be like, you know, I don't think it's as flattering as this outfit. Or
but I mean, if it's
I think you looked better with longer hair versus short hair. Like, there's a way to word it where you're not an asshole.
but if okay, there are some exceptions, because if it is but fucking ugly, if it's fucking ugly, yes, like
If you told me something was ugly, I'd be like, I would probably just laugh and be like, what the fuck? Like, well, okay.
no, I'm just saying, like like if it was just straight up ugly, I'll say something about it. But yeah, like like you said,
But you're saying the thing's ugly. You're not saying they're ugly.
Yeah.
And I feel like people take it as like you're saying
oh,
they're
I'm
ugly.
ugly. Yeah, like no.
But I mean, because I told you before, like, when I would slightly change my hair color or like get a haircut, like, I never cut my hair super short or anything like that, but sometimes I would get it a little different style or whatever.
Yeah.
And I would ask, like, I wouldn't even ask, like, do you think this looks good? I would ask, which one do you prefer? Do you prefer how I had it before, or do you like how it is now?
Yeah.
And I'd get the fucking, oh, they both look good. I'm like, no, bitch. Like, you have a preference.
You're like, tell me. Yeah.
Like, sure, they can both look good,
Yeah.
but you're still gonna have, like, a preference.
Yeah.
Like, with you, I've asked before, like, do you prefer the straight hair or when I do the spirals? And you're like, they both look good, but I think the straight hair looks better, or I
Yep.
like the straight hair better.
Yeah.
Not that the spirals look bad,
But,
or I dislike I don't dislike the spirals,
Yeah.
but I prefer the straight
Yeah.
hair.
exactly.
I mean,
But I
my
prefer
hair
that,
is
yeah.
pretty straight anyway, but
Yeah.
gets a little straighter when I straighten it.
Yeah, definitely.
But no, it's just one of those things of like, if you ask somebody for their opinion and then they give you their opinion and you get mad, they're just not going to want to give you their opinion anymore.
Yeah. And this is why you take your time, right? Because and that's something that I learned, and hopefully people, because I notice a lot of people go through a lot of relationships and don't learn or improve themselves. You're just doing that for yourself. That's on you. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
can't blame other people for your shit. But
how many times do we hear, why does this keep happening? I'm like,
my god.
because you've told the same fucking story like 5 times now.
Exactly. At that point, it's just like, it's like when, like, you know, you're crying wolf too many times. But, you know, like, I learned that from my previous relationship, you know, like, yes, I like to be more upfront and, like, honest. People are like, oh my god, honest? I know we talk about being honest, but a lot of people aren't honest with each other. But, you know, I did notice that me being honest would upset, or, you know, she would be sad or cry. Um, so
It just makes you not want to have a conversation.
yeah, so like anything that, like, you know, we would have a conversation about that essentially, and, you know, concluded with like, hey, so, you know, if I didn't really agree with it, I would still agree with it because I was like, oh, I know if I don't, this is gonna be the outcome. You
Yeah.
know? And frankly, I was just like, I was getting checked out of the relationship, and I was just like, I don't know why I keep trying to make it work when I know I don't like this, you know? And I think that's very important to where I learned my lesson to where I should have waited a little longer to know more about this individual before seeking a serious, like, a long-term relationship with this individual, right?
Yeah.
And again, don't get me wrong, we're not saying that you can't be in a serious relationship, you know, sooner than we did, but I just think precarious, like, just caution wise, like, or precautions is, you know, honestly, take your time.
Well, and it's like if you ask your partner for an honest opinion and they tell you that they don't like it, you can't really be surprised when they still don't like it when you keep doing it.
Yeah.
The hair.
Exactly.
The hair.
The hair. Oh god.
Just like, I don't, that's one of the stories that I'm just like, I don't get it. Because personally, like, say if I cut my hair and I asked my boyfriend at the time, whoever he was,
yeah,
like, not does this look good, but do you like this, or did you prefer how it was before? Like, did you prefer my long hair? And he was like, I'm going to be super frank right now, and I am going to tell you that I am not very physically attracted to you with the short hair.
Yeah.
I would not fucking cut my hair anymore.
Yeah.
Because I'd be like, I don't want him to not want to be, like, I don't want him not to be physically attracted to me. Like, he gave his honest opinion. And, like, I know some chicks would be like, oh, independent woman, you can do whatever the fuck you want, da-da-da-da-da, girl power. I'm like, yeah, I get that. That's fine. But it's like, if you're, the person you're with is honest and is like, you know, I'm not really attracted to you as much this way, like, physically, not on an emotional or mental level, but physically.
Yeah.
Like, at a certain extent, like, they were vulnerable and on, like, enough to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because, like, would you rather them lie and then you be sitting there wondering, like, why they're not really being as physically affectionate with you?
Yeah.
Like, no. Like, I would much rather someone be honest and tell me why.
Yeah.
Or, like, be honest about the haircut or whatever the fuck it was. But, like I said, like, I would ask questions all the time and I would always get this fucking answer of, they both look good.
Yeah.
They both look great. Like, how, like, there's been times where we've gone places and, like, I'll try on stuff, and most of the time, the ones you don't like, I don't like either. Like, we both think they don't look good. I don't think there's been anything I've tried on and I've been like, I really like it, and you were like, no, I hate it. Usually, if you don't like it, I haven't liked it either.
Yeah, that's true.
But we're very similar on a lot of things.
Yeah, we are, and again, it's just talking about it,
Well, and
being
we both
honest,
know that we both mean what we say. There's none of this like, is it okay if I go out? Yeah, have fun.
and then being like, "Where the fuck are you? Why are you out? You shouldn't be out."
You should have known that I didn't want you to go.
Yeah, right. Oh my god,
No.
that shit is so.
That is annoying. Because, like, I would get that shit, too, where it was like, are you sure? Because you say this, but, like, I know that's girl for the opposite. I was like, I am not most girls. I mean what is coming out of my fucking mouth. Stop asking me 20 times if I'm serious about what I said. I said what I said. Do it or not. I don't care at this point.
Right? And again, it goes back to the topic of taking your time.
Yeah.
Because if that's going on and you constantly stress about it, again, that's your fault for not taking your time to understand, know more about this person, more about this individual on a greater scale. You most likely should have dated a little bit longer, or saw each other a little more longer before making it official.
Which is like the whole thing you said about just not being honest at some point, or just not talking about stuff or bringing stuff up because of the very strong possibility of it just leading to crying.
Yeah.
Which is still emotional manipulation.
Yeah.
Even though it's not anger, most people don't think that anything besides anger is manipulation. But if you constantly cry to get your way all the time, that's also manipulation.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Like in my case, it was anger. Like, I don't want to bring things up or bring up issues or be honest because I don't want to get yelled at. I don't want to get in a fight.
Yeah.
I don't want him pissed off at me.
Yeah.
So it's like, what is, like, just very much, next time around, I'm going to take my time and get to know this person before I jump into anything.
Yeah. Again, it's, and I know a lot of people will blame themselves for so long, and think that they can't find another person, they're not going to be worth it, they can't, it'll never work, and, honestly, you really just need to get out of that. Like, that is a terrible mindset. It's just terrible.
Like, I'm just gonna go with this person because they're the only ones interested right now and I might not find anyone else. Like, that's not a good reason to be with somebody.
That is not a good reason to be with someone. No. 100% not.
No.
But you see it all the time. Like, you hear about it all the time. And it's just like, yeah, but you put yourself in that situation, and it's okay to admit you made mistakes. You have failures.
Nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect, and I don't know why everyone keeps thinking that there's always this perfect scenario. There's just not.
No.
There's no perfect recipe on anything.
We don't live in Disney.
Yeah, we don't live in Shroomland, okay?
We live in Fairyland.
We live
wherever.
in Fairyland, right? Yeah, it's just like, it's okay to admit some faults. You have to be aware of some faults that you have, and you have to be able to improve it. If you're not willing to improve your own self, then you're at fault, and you got to work on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's.
Yeah. But that's our little rant about how annoying it is when people are judgmental about us taking our time.
And in general, for anybody else.
In general.
Yeah.
It's super annoying.
For anyone else that also knows, can relate to our story or, our relationship, is Yeah, it's fucking annoying. Like we said in the beginning of the episode, it's not high school anymore.
Yeah.
We're adults.
Yeah, we're adults. It's not high school, and it's like a whole thing of, I mean, personally, like, I know people that have been in relationships for a long time, or they're married and they did the whole like right off the bat thing, and their communication is shit.
Yeah, but they're still together.
They just go the route of like, don't bring up anything unpleasant.
Yeah.
Or don't bring up anything that could possibly lead to something unpleasant. And that's not good, because then like you're both just sitting there thinking about shit all the time instead of actually getting answers.
Like, look, if you want to live like that, be my guest. But
and most of the time, like, that person like comes up with worse scenarios in their mind than what the actual thing is.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't have had to worry about it or be upset about it if they would have just asked.
Yeah, it's fucking insane.
Well, you know, people don't like unpleasant or awkward conversations.
Yeah. You don't have to make it awkward. Like,
well, you make it awkward by making it
exactly.
awkward.
You make it awkward by making it awkward.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, again, yeah, that's what we got for today's episode on the Blast Zone. If you liked what you heard, share it with your friends and family and a stranger, and your cat, and
your sneaky link.
Your sneaky link.
All the peeps.
Join the server. Join the server. Yes. Join the Rising Global Discord server. It is a server for 18 and up.
It's popping.
It's popping. It is definitely popping lately.
We have game night every Friday.
Every Friday. Sometimes on other weekdays. I know Friday is a weekday.
Occasionally we do Wednesday.
Yeah, occasionally do Wednesdays.
And global, it's not just US based. Yeah. We do have quite a few international peeps. So it's not like the server is dead for you European or Asian continent people.
Yep.
There are people awake in your time zones as well.
Yep. Verification is required, so you'll have to follow those guidelines when you do join the server. Again, that is for everyone's safety and protection, and making sure you are who you are. And
we also have merch.
And we have merch. We're going to be producing more merch, some stickers, some tumblers, and more to come.
And if there's anything you'd want to see, send us a message.
Yeah, send us a message. Yeah.
Or if you want to be on the podcast, send us a message.
Send us a message. We'd love to hear about your story.
Everybody has a story. Let's go.
Let's go. And don't forget to follow all our social media. We're on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all that fun jazz.
All the things.
All the things. Well, until next episode, bye-bye.